The reason I'm in Asheville is I came home in 2019 and found my husband he had had a major heart attack on the kitchen floor dead. But Patty and I had always been very, very close. And I was giving her like $800 a month to stay in one room, literally. Well, it got to where when I would come in, it was so intense in their house, I wouldn't speak to anybody. I wouldn't even come out of that room unless it was to potty or take a shower. They would even unplug the washing machine so I couldn't do my laundry. I had been sick all week long. I was coughing and stuff, but I thought, it was just like a head cold. And when I went into work that day, one of the nurses, Jim, said, "You've had that cough too long." I said, "You need to go take a test." I said, "I will." I said, "But I don't think there's anything bad wrong with me." Well, I just went and got in my car, and I went to South Carolina because one of my best friends lived there. This was on Friday, and I knew all weekend long I kept feeling worse and worse and worse. So I was Sunday morning, I went and stood on the front porch. I told him, I said, "I'm gonna go stand on the front porch." I said, "I can't breathe." I was not breathing. And said, I just fell off the porch. But nobody in my family knew I was sick. Nobody knew I was in the hospital. And the next thing I know, I woke up the following Thursday and I was in ICU. I had went completely out. They said my breathing was down to 62. Which not many people live after 62 when your breathing's down to 62. By the grace of God, I pulled through. When I got out, but I think there were 6 medications altogether. Yeah, I had to have that breathing suprednisone, had to have antibiotics. They wouldn't even let me out of the hospital until I signed papers that I could get oxygen. But by the time I paid the co-payment, it was like almost $300 for just the co-payments for some of them. And I was supposed to this day, I'm supposed to be on oxygen, but I don't. The ladies at work literally took up money from me. They really do. I mean, and like one girl, and me and her are close to this guy, she went across the road because my car was working at that time and got me $100 gas card. That's how I got back and forth to work. And they didn't know how bad I really was because I was telling them I had somewhere to go. I didn't want them to think, "Well, look how nasty she is. She's out here on the road." And I was literally lying to them, telling them I had somewhere to go. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was like a little child that had just lost its mom and dad and was fixing to go into foster care. Where am I going? What am I going to do? Who's going to take care of me? How am I going to eat? How am I going to bathe? Where am I going to sleep? How am I going to get to work? I mean, all these things are going through your mind at one time. It's crazy. Where am I going to put my food? When I can get some food, how am I going to take a shower? And it got so bad that of a night, the first night I was sleeping outside, I thought, well, maybe I could go over and slip in where I work in the yards because I know there's a lot of security guards and stuff. But no, they'd have me put in jail. Then what would I do? I'd lose my job. So I can't do that. But and I was still so weak. I was falling down on the road. I'm sure people thought I was drunk or something, but I had no energy. I couldn't even think. And finally, I just went and started walking. And this young girl, she was out on the street. It was about 12 o'clock at night then. And I went up to her. I said, honey, where do y'all sleep? What do y'all do? She said, if you want to, you can go with me. Well, I followed her way out in the woods, and it was really spooky because there was a lot of people out there, and I've never done nothing like this. It's crazy to me. And we went in there, and her tent was soaking wet. There was nowhere to sit. I mean, I'm like, how do y'all sleep? What do you do to stay warm? And I got scared. I told her, I said, well, I'm just going to walk on back. I'm going to go sit at the bus stop or something. But she told me, she said, I know where a dry place is. You can lay down and sleep. And all I had on was my jacket from work and my pocketbook. That's all I had with me. So she took me over it was close to the highway. And I laid down there. It was like 2 o'clock by then, maybe. And I couldn't wait for the sun to come up. It was so creepy out in the woods. No blanket, no nothing. And all you can do is hear every little creak. You're thinking, who's coming? Had no kind of protection with me. It was very, very bad. I met this guy, and he told me, he said, you can come stay in the hotel with me. He said, I've got it for a week. And I didn't have no other option. I mean, I knew nobody in Asheville. So I had no choice but to go stay with this guy. And one night he woke up, he was doing a lot of stuff. And I ain't gonna say what he was doing, but he was doing a lot of stuff. And he just went crazy and started beating the crap out of him. I've never been hit by a man. That was the first time I've ever been hit by a man. Honest to God, it's the first time. So everything was new to me. Then I was by myself because I wouldn't stay over in that tent city. It's just, Somebody told me to go to the YMCA, and they put me up for 4 days, and then that's when I went over to help. And I stayed over there for almost 2 weeks. They finally sent me so fed, thank God. And it was like no time until she had me somewhere to go. And so that night I stayed in my room, but the next day after work I wouldn't even go home.